Hello everyone, in this lecture let's take a look at how DAX measures work in visuals. In this lecture we will still be leveraging the DAX Essential workbook, so make sure you have that opened. Okay, to begin with, let's create a bar chart. To do that, we're gonna use the sales amount column from the insurance data. So just go ahead and drag and drop the sales amount column. So once you drop the sales amount column on the canvas, you would have a bar chart. Pay attention that in this bar chart, we only have one bar, right? And if you check the total value, it shows just above $2 million in sales. Then let's add the advisor gender to this bar chart. Just go ahead and find advisor gender column. So drag that and drop it on the bar chart. You will see that it is automatically added to the x-axis of the bar chart. In the meantime, you can see that the one bar now breaks down into 3 bars. And if you add up these 3 bars, their total value is just above $2 million, just like with one bar. So you can see this is just a breakdown of the original value. And you might notice that this kind of dynamic behavior, depending on what breakdown you have, seems to be very similar to the measures that we talked about, right? Remember that measures are dynamic. It can change the value depending on the filter context. If you think that way, you would be correct, because if you pay attention to what happens under this y-axis, you can see that there is something called sum of sales amount. And if you recall, when we drag and drop the sales amount column to this canvas, we didn't say like create a measure or do anything special about it, right? What happens here is DAX or Power BI automatically created this implicit measure for us. And if you're wondering if I can choose, average of sales amount or other ways of aggregating the sales amount, you can actually do that. So to do that, just find this little triangle here and click on that. In the pop-up menu, you can find sum, that is the current aggregation method. You can also choose average, minimum, maximum, count the distinct values, count all the values, calculate the standard deviation, calculate the variance, or even the median. But the most common ways to aggregate the numbers are sum and average. Okay, let's pick average, and you will see that the description of this measure now changes to average of sales amount. And in the bar chart, the numbers changed as well. You can see that now the number dropped to just above 25,000. Let's change this back to sum of sales because that makes more sense. So click on sum. There we go. So since this is an implicit measure, to verify our understanding about this, how about that we create an explicit measure and try to replicate the value of this implicit measure? Okay, let's do that. Remember, how do we create a measure? Yes, just right click on the dataset and go to new measure. So our measure would be called total sales. And total sales will equal to the sum of the sales amount. And I'm gonna go ahead and pick sales amount column under the insurance data. Okay, not the one in the simple table, but the one under insurance data table. So click on that and close your brackets. Hit enter to apply your changes. Perfect. Go ahead and drag your total sales measure, drop it in the y-axis. And you can see we have an additional bar for each of the category. So for others, male and female, we have an additional bar, and that bar should be exactly the same height or exactly the same value as the implicit measure created by Power BI. If you compare the values, you can see total sales and sum of sales amount has exactly the same value. So that means our understanding about the implicit measure is correct. So now if you take a look at all the visuals that we created before, you will see that all the visuals has a implicit measure associated with it. You have been using DAX all the way. You just didn't notice. Isn't that amazing? Alright, with that note, we'll close this lecture, and I will see you in the next one. Bye.